the head, the development director from the studio in Frankfurt, Brian Chambers. He's coming. I see him. The next one that is being welcome on our stage is Jason, the lead cinematics animator. There he is. The next one, Dan, lead systems designer. Brian, these are fresh, you can use them without any doubt. The next one, Christopher, senior engine programmer. And one more, Tobias, or maybe in English spoken, Tobias, lead weapon artist. The only girl, Melissa, Q&A engine specialist. And last but not least, Pascal, environment artist. And now I screwed you, Brian. You told me he got promoted to the senior environment artist, so an extra applause to him. So these two microphones there on the table are yours. You have to share them. Please do not fight for them, okay? We do not have enough people to wipe away the blood, so. This one is mine. Thank you. You're all feeling well? You're fine? Oh, I stay in the back of you. Just a second. Let me see if I can change that. Now I'm here at the first row, the ones who are too weak to stay. So, welcome. It is a pleasure for us to welcome you all at the CitCon, the first con that is made for and by the German community. We have all one question that burns actually under our fingers.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Can't really hear myself. Before we get in with the questions, I want to thank you guys. Honestly, German community coming together, different communities around the world actually coming together and hosting their own events. The organizers that threw this off, I mean, there was a lot of personal time and personal money that went in to actually make this thing happen. And to have fans like you come and to have organizers like this bring community together, it's incredibly cool for us. So thank you guys.
Wow. Hello? Can you still hear me? Yeah, well, like I started, we all have a question that is actually burning under our fingernails. Maybe the one most important. I think all of us had seen the presentation at CitizenCon. How was the cake?
I think out of the team, I was the only one that went from Frankfurt. The entire Frankfurt team was busy. A lot of the guys actually went to the UK to help on a final push on that up until the last day. Unfortunately, I did not have any cake.
That's a shame.
I know. But I saved it for the people that were there, and other people had an additional piece. So.
Okay, now all together, a huge O for Brian. 1, 2, 3. So, also for the people in our live stream, I still have my paper. So, as we have seen in the presentation, the constellation Makila was landing, and it was having some troubles with the atmospheric conditions. The question that we had actually is, do we feel the effect of this trouble when we are entering the atmospheric conditions?
Testing. So, yes, you will feel going through the atmosphere. Not all of the effects are defined yet. We're still working on this. We're trying a few things. We want turbulence to be a heavy factor here. We want that ride to not be a smooth ride. It needs to have surprises in it. Stuff needs to happen. You need to be on your toes when you're going in the atmosphere. Most of the ships, while they are capable of atmospheric flight, they were not meant. That's not their main purpose. So you have to be careful there. Some ships are a lot better for that. Like you'll figure them out. The ones that have wings in general are a lot better. So yes, you will definitely feel the effect of going into atmosphere. Once that system is fully in, it'll be like a completely different ride from going in outer space.
Okay, thank you for that. No problem. Just as an information that I forgot to share, we just have a few questions here. The rest of the questions are coming from the live stream and, of course, from the publicum that we have out here in Frankfurt. We might switch, after we finish these questions, we might switch to live stream and back to publicum to make it kind of fair. And yeah, hopefully we do not let these people sweat a lot from our questions. The next one on our schedule is that in the earlier times when Chris spoke about his dream and everything was going further and further, he said that we might have animated scenes while we are landing. Now with procedural planets, is this plan gone? Are we now able to land directly, feeling that we're landing in cities or wherever?
So yeah, I'll take this one too.
Really quick. All these design courses, just so everybody knows, Dan is one of our senior system designers, or lead system designer, sorry. No disrespect. So anything, as he announced us up here, there's a wide mix, a variety of disciplines we brought. So anything that's design related, it's going to seem like the Dan show. So take it away, Dan.
Yeah, sorry, you're stuck with me for a while, but after that, ask questions for these guys. So regarding the automated landing sequence, that is ideally not something we really want to do, but in crowded places, like let's say you would be landing in Area 18. We can't give full reign for everyone to fly in every direction where they want there. So you'll get a corridor of landing. You'll have control of your ship. You'll be able to fly it, but you'll have to stay in that corridor. Once you go out that corridor, flight control will take over, and you'll be automatically flown in on the right path. So if you're going with the law, you'll have no problem flying your ship and landing. If you're going outside that corridor, you'll get a penalty for it and be landed off forcefully automatically.
So it will be like, you wanted it, now take it.
Yes, so when it comes to other locations, like how you've seen in the demo we showed at the CitizenCon, you will be able to land in unpopulated area. Let's say you have a mission in the middle of a desert planet, that you will be able to land wherever you want there. It's not a matter of, we don't want to abuse this control where it's not needed, only where it's needed and where you can abuse other players. That's where we'll take control of your ship, more or less. We'll limit your flying capabilities a bit.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, you were speaking about landing in atmosphere outside of cities. Our next question about this, in this presentation, the rover got attacked and one tire got lost because the stormtroopers, the troopers took the tire. Is it a question for you again? How are we going to recover our rover?
It'll be a matter of coming with proper repair tools and fixing it. You'll have to bring the repair tool, go through our repair system, and you'll have to fix the broken parts. And once it's functional, you'll be able to drive it back to your ship and take off, the same as with a fully functional rover.
So right now there's no possibility to just come with a ship, take it and fly away.
Magic tractor beam thing? No.
Okay.
I mean, we are looking into tractor beams and stuff like that, but not of a strength of pulling an entire rover in gravity. That, I mean, it's a bit magical. This is not the game we're aiming for. It needs to be still grounded into reality, and that is basically the direction we've been given.
That's what we want, realism.
If eventually we end up with a grappling magnetic hook or something that's a bit more realistic, maybe that would be a solution. But for now, the best thing is to just repair it on the spot. It might be a bit risky, but it sounds like the best idea since we're building repair systems already.
Okay. Now that we are already in the desert, we saw the sand worm that were coming up. If this beast is coming out of the ground and tries to attack us, how will it be? Do we have some kind of defense, or are we insta-dead?
Be fast, don't stop, run.
That was a short answer.
If it does, if it gets you though, yeah, I mean, you're dead, right? You're done with. One thing interesting though with things like the worm will have its own 24-hour life cycle, right? So there will be times where it's going to be more dormant, it's not going to come up. There's going to be times where it's going to be more active and you want to stay away from it because it's going to be quicker than other times potentially, right? So it's also one thing to keep in mind with bits like that in the environment and the persistence in the 24-hour life cycle. There's going to be different approaches that will, at different times of the day, that will yield different net results.
Yeah, this is something that we're planning for all of our animals and everything we do on the planet. We want to have a live planet populated with animals. They will have habits and things they do. It's not, they won't be just, oh, they're here and they're just walking around. They'll go to the watering place. This is the same thing we do with our NPC AI. They'll have a 24-hour life cycle. They wake up, they go to the shower, they go to the gym, they eat, they go do their duties for X hours a day, then they go sleep, they watch TV, stuff like this. So everything will have that fully live cycle. It needs to feel alive. Yes.
That sounds really great. We all have also seen the sandstorm and the thunders that are inside there. We just asked ourselves, next to it looked really impressive, but how much will it actually affect us? If we are coming in trouble to fly in there by accident, or maybe because we are the cool guy who wants to fly in there, how much are we getting affected by that? Is our ship going to be destroyed? Is this sand coming in our engines? You as the engine dude, is it coming in our engines, and does it behave like a normal sand and engine are kind of deadly for them?
Hey Dan, how about you take this one?
Okay. Yeah, we are planning to have different damage types. Actually, Vidas is the guy working on this, and he's somewhere around here, so if you guys want to get more details on how this works. We want to have multiple damage types where it affects the player or the vehicle he's in different ways. So sand will affect your the machinery you're in certain ways. It'll slow down certain things. It'll add a lot of wear and tear to your components. Not necessarily maybe damaging them directly, but basically grinding them down so they don't become as effective while you're in the storm. Same thing with getting hit by lightning. That will be a different damage type. It'll be pretty much similar to our lightning shotgun, kind of the same damage type, but on a vehicle it will do some damage to your ship systems. It'll short circuit some things. It'll be like kind of getting hit by an EMP maybe. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for. We're trying to categorize damage types and have very fixed effects that they have over a player or a ship and stuff like this. So each damage type will have its own thing, and everything that's environmental will have its own damage type. You might go on a toxic planet where the atmosphere is acid and starts corroding your hull. So all these things, and you'll be able to get ships that have reinforced hulls for a sandstorm, for getting hit by lightning, for specific things like that you get in the environment. So not just weapons. We're trying to have the environment be a pretty hazardous place. We won't have only habitable planets to go to. There will be planets that are pretty much hell. So you'll have to be able to deal with those, because that's where most of the good resources will be.
Thank you for that. This one does not like me at all. I'll change. So yeah, from me it is now the last question, and after that it is your turn and your turn. So, whoa, that's a long one. We have missions like the one in the tech demo that we have seen. Are they generated automatically? And when someone accepts a mission on a terminal, are these permanent locations? Or can it be done again and again and again and again somewhere else?
Yeah, I'll take this one too.
Surprise!
Thanks, Dan.
Sorry, guys.
I can take it.
Can you? Nah, I'll do it. It's the last one. Yes, there's. We want our bigger locations to be permanent. We don't want to just spawn a new environment with that, for a big piece. If you've seen the CitizenCon demo, that javelin that's buried in the sand, that won't just appear there because you took a mission. But it might be that we spawn a box of resources somewhere in the middle of the desert just for a mission. That we might do, but the javelin will, or something of that size will always be there. We might have even 5-10 missions running at the same time inside that thing. So you might get a mission to recover the black box. He might get a mission to salvage parts out of it. Someone might get a mission to prevent people from salvaging or stealing the black box. So we're going to reuse that environment for as many missions as possible because it's a nice big piece.
Can I jump in? On the same example of the javelin, it's also on that 24-hour cycle and how you approach it, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. So let's say, you know, in the demo it was a certain time of day and you went there and you saw the bad dudes and they immediately shot at you. What if you went there at night and the guys were actually asleep? Could you kind of sneak in slightly differently? What if you took it from the other direction? What if your reputation was shady and they knew that and you went in and maybe then they actually tried to sell you stuff and maybe they weren't aggressive, right? So based on, again, this 24-hour life cycle, it's going to add a tremendous amount of variables, and then also based on how the way you play, then in a sense, the environment is going to then react and interact back with you.
Yeah, and to expand a bit on the reputation thing, it might be that if you have, let's say you did some shady things and then you got along with these pirates and did some missions for them, so they really like you because you're one of them basically. You might just go there and go ask one of them, hey, have you seen any of you seen the black box? And you just go and pick it up from where they tell you where it is. Otherwise, you'll have to fight all of them, search for that black box, might not even find it before reinforcements come in. So your reputation in the world will have dire consequences of how you'll be able to do a mission or not. Again, if you have a good reputation with the pirates and you encounter some UE on the way, you'll have other problems. So everything changes based on what you did before, what you did in the universe, and who you are in the universe.
Thanks again. Now it's on you. Frankie, baby. He's an old dude and I think he fell asleep. Frank, it's your turn. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, there are some questions. Wird es eine offene API für Spektrum geben?
Will there be an open API for Spectrum? API. An open API for Spectrum.
Spectrum is run more out of our Austin office, or what we call ATX. So honestly, I don't know the low-level details on that. I know there's a lot of thought and a lot of effort, and I also do know that there's been a tremendous amount of discussions, and maybe with some people in this room, with John Erskine, he's had numerous orgs approach him, or head of orgs, going, for Spectrum, our forums are set up this way, we'd love to use yours, but we don't want to throw our stuff away. So I know that they're actively looking for ways to be able to bring over content and have it presentable and searchable in various ways so people can utilize it as much as possible.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Another question from the stream?
Another question from the Publikum, just to make it fair.
Will the planets rotate around the stars? If the answer is yes, how will you overcome the ship casing on planet or satellites, but never reaching it because it moves too fast? Is that a problem?
Did you get that, or I'll just head back in just a second. So the question was, will the planets rotate around the stars? If the answer is yes, how will you overcome the ship chasing a planet or satellite but never reaching it because it moves too fast? Problem?
Welchen Deutsch oder English?
It was a question completely in English, so
Okay,
I think it was from one
Okay.
English citizen.
Then I stick to English. For me, I can just answer the first side of the question about if the planet can rotate about a star. Yeah, that's basically possible. That's the position system we developed to allow for us to efficiently move large cluster of objects like a planet or yeah, around basically. That's really fast. About chasing up a planet, that's again more for design. Push over to the well-known Dan.
Yeah, me again. We are kind of looking into this, into quantum driving to a planet that is moving into orbit, but nothing definitive has been decided on this one, how we do stuff to this point. I guess it's a matter of whether we want to go super realistic or whether we want to implement some other cooler features with the development time we would invest in this. We'll see. We'll look into it.
Okay. Frank, stopp. Jetzt das Publikum. So, our live stream viewers had 2 questions. That means our Publikum will have 2 questions in a row too, just to be fair. So there is one hand. Please come a bit closer.
Hi, question for QA. The players are sending many things, many criticism to the issue council. Is the internal QA looking at the issue council and looking at the things that the players post?
Can you hear me okay? Okay, so issue council is being looked at usually by someone in Austin, the Austin office usually, and they will usually go through like the actual issues and make sure that it's been repro'd. And if it has been, then they will themselves repro it. And if they can convert it into an actual JIRA issue, then they'll gather all the information, put that into JIRA, and it'll get assigned out to a dev to actually get fixed. So it has to have like a certain number of reproductions before it actually gets converted to like into our bug system. So.
Yeah, as you can imagine, with you guys playing, it's fortunately allows us more visibility into what we could test just by ourselves, right? You'll get some, some bugs will come in, some issues that will come in, and they may be incredible edge cases that we can't even reproduce ourselves, although we try and try and try. So as Melissa said, we basically take that priority on what can be repro'd, what we've heard numerous times. Those go into the highest priority for us. We repro them ourselves, and as she said, then it would go out to a producer, and that producer would look at it and go, okay, that's this guy, and then he would throw it to them. It is driven, as she said, out of Austin with those issues. And each studio has their own makeup of a QA department that is not just specific for their team. They also function on a global level, but it will satisfy some of their specific needs. Such as UK, they have a large amount of QA there, and they're focusing a lot on Squadron 42, right? And rightfully so. Melissa, being a QA engine specialist, and us having a large portion of the core engine team in Frankfurt, she's working on a daily basis with the engine team. When they're doing some of this new bleeding edge tech stuff that we're pushing, she's beating up the new tech. So we try to specialize the QA as much as possible to be able to satisfy the needs that they're sitting next to for efficiency.
Whoop. So next question I will take from this side. I'm sorry, this side was. I'm sorry, you might be the next one. Maybe, if you're lucky.
Hi, where there be a group mission or so?
Stop laughing. It's yes, we are definitely working on this. That yes, group missions, smaller group, bigger group. We definitely want you guys playing together rather than helping each other perform a mission. We want stuff to be group friendly. It needs to be easy for you guys to just jump in a group and be able to all of you perform the same mission together. Yes, right now we would love to do something like that, but right now we're limited by network code. Network code is improving constantly. So as soon as we get more and more people playing together in the same server, we will open it up for more and more people to do missions together. Yes.
And that, my friend, was cheating. So, Frank.
Ja, hier ist noch eine Frage. Wird es Höhlen auf dem Planeten geben, die man erkunden kann?
The question is if there will be caves on the planets that you can explore.
Hello, hello. So we are planning on having caves on the planets. We currently are working on the tech to actually cut holes into the normal planet terrain, so you can go under the terrain and build your custom cave. How procedural it's going to be, I don't really know. Hard to say. But yeah, it's definitely on the list of things to do.
Thank you. Frank?
Gibt es schon Informationen wegen VR-Unterstützung, also Visual Reality?
Are there any informations about VR supporting?
I don't know what new information I could give. I know that we are ultimately going to support VR. And I've said this in the past, more and more VR companies are coming up, and there's new hardware, and there's new this and this and that. Our engine team is incredibly confident in what they can do with VR. There are guys on the team that have coded VR in projects that are already out on the market. So we're confident what our capabilities are. But as far as what we're putting together, and if we have to prioritize things, which we do, it's not at the highest priority. You guys will definitely know, or you'll hear once we're giving it some more love and some more attention. And we know it's a question that we commonly get. I think me personally, I'm looking forward to as well, because if I think of VR in something like an FPS game, you go, how could that work? But then if I'm thinking VR and I'm sitting in my cockpit in a fixed point and I can look around, and I mean, it's so well suited, right? So we know it's going to be cool. We know it's something that's going to exist. In a sense, the base code's already there, but we need to finish some of this other core base tech that we're working on our roadmap before we give it more love.
Thanks to the cheater, Frank.
Wie viel Speicher wird so ein Planet verbrauchen? Man soll ja dynamisch landen können. Oder wird das nachgeladen dann?
Okay. How much memory will it take to land on a planet? And now the rest I forgot. Because I will just go back and look again. Because, yeah.
Wie viel Speicher benötigt ein Planet?
Okay, how much memory will a planet take, or will it be dynamically reloaded so you can land on the planet's surface?
I think I can nearly answer this completely. It depends. Problem is, I cannot give you an exact answer for memory, because a planet needs multiple systems to actually work. For example, the main procedure generation generates the vertices, which is basically the terrain itself. So the terrain needs memory. Marco, the engineer who wrote the terrain system, is ensuring that the real planet keeps a fixed amount of vertices on the screen. I think he has capped it to 1 million vertices. I think one vertices is 4 by 4, 16 bytes, so you have to do the math, how much memory you need for the vertices alone. This is video memory on the GPU. Then for landing, you need to physicalize it. So we need to run the procedural algorithm to generate the form of the terrain, which goes to the physics system. The physics system needs to compute its own representation for it to check for efficient physics checks. This also needs memory. Then we have objects on top of the planet which are spawned and despawned. They are pooled. It's hard to give an upper bound, basically, but I think the question is more basically we try to pool everything and to keep only the minimum amount of objects actually in memory which you can see. Which is also not really true, because for streaming in the near future we want to try to utilize all your memory in machines. So you want to keep a minimum, but if you have more, the system should utilize some more memory. This is part of it in physics. Should I go on, or am I in too much detail?
I was out at, I can't answer that completely, so there you lost me.
Because I could not talk half an hour about this. And
no, as you can see about his answer, I mean, Chris, being part of the core engine team, there's a tremendous amount of knowledge that's there and effort to put into everything that we do. A lot of the questions we can't really answer with, 10 words, right? But yeah, thank you for putting a decent amount of words to it.
So perhaps the short answer, like I said, is we try to keep the amount of memory to a minimum which you need. And yeah, so the planet in itself is really efficient. memory-wise. Because in the end, you as a player, you don't see everything. And even if you can land on a planet, let's even say theoretically 100 players land on a planet, they don't, 100 players need how much square meters to land actually. And how much percentage of the whole planet is what the players actually need. So we try to only have the physics data for the place where the players is in memory and not the whole planet basically.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me too. Whoa! I'll come back. I'll come back. I'll come back. I'll come back. I'll come back later.
Thanks. We have seen farming on the sheets for next year about, and my question is, is farming on planets the first step from farming, or will there be a smaller step between with plants in boxes and in the hangar, for example?
So if we're referring to plant farming, yeah, rather plant farming. Okay, so this is something that we know we want to do, but we have not yet worked in detail. So everything that I tell you right now will probably change as we keep developing it and keep determining what is actually fun to play. So I can't really give you a precise answer on this one. I'm sorry. We're looking into it, definitely.
So,
we also need an animation question. So otherwise I asked Jason to come here for no reason.
I guess he is enjoying himself very well.
He's got an animation question.
Just a second.
Oh, come on, man.
Es ist zwar tatsächlich angedacht, dass Leute sich über das Thema unterhalten, aber aktuell müssen wir leider darum bitten, die Lautstärke der Konversation im Hintergrund auf ein Minimum zu reduzieren, denn teilweise verstehen die Leute, die hier vorne stehen, kein Wort mehr. Dementsprechend wäre es wirklich sehr nett, wenn ihr euch unterhalten wollt, vielleicht in den hinteren Teil der Halle geht, dann hört man dieses Rumgemurmel nicht. Das wäre sehr nett. So, one question especially for Jason.
At least I think so. I understand that Citizen is a simulation, so everything takes quite a bit of time. But in certain situations, you might wish that your animations go a bit faster. Like if your ship is burning and you're under attack and you want to jump out of your seat back into your capsule or whatever, will it still be like slowly standing up, all chilling and all good? Or is there another animation set in the plan so we can use this?
I think that's actually a Dan question. I mean, but I do agree that with video games, you have to be conscious of time, because in general, it constantly comes up to where cinematic takes a long time, right? And it looks beautiful and tells a story very gracefully, but a lot of times too, you might have already seen that 20 times, and after the 5th time, you're tired of it, right? It's the same thing with getting in and out of your ship. We can all appreciate something looking really nice and maybe putting away your weapon and then getting in the ship and then getting out, but at the same time too, speed-wise, if you're in the middle of combat, you don't really want to see that, right? So that's more of a Dan question here.
So I know. Testing. Okay. I know we're looking into making exit animations and enter animation faster. I know for example, for AI right now we have our usable systems, and where an AI has an enter animation to sit in a chair, sit at a table, eat something. If a fire starts or there's gunshots, he needs to enter combat, we don't want him to slowly drop his fork and knife, get up, and in a relaxed manner go towards his gun. No, he needs to be like, holy shit, give me a gun, I need to shoot. So we definitely are doing this for AI, and we're looking into doing it for the player too.
Thanks, Dan.
So, yeah.
Jo, wir haben noch Fragen.
Immer raus damit.
Wird man auf dem Planeten schwimmen, tauchen oder sogar unter Wasser erkunden können?
Will it be possible to swim, dive and explore underwater?
There is water on the planets now. You've seen the oceans they're in. At the moment, we mostly just worked on the visual surface, the quality of the ocean, that it looks nice. If you go underneath the water, there's not really much. It's basically just the terrain continuing, but there's no nice water effects or such. But yeah, I'm sure this question is going to come up in the duration of development at some point. But I cannot really tell you when this is going to happen and how it's going to look. I'm sure it's going to look good. Or at least we'll try to make it look really good. But yeah, I can't give you a definitive answer.
Surprise, surprise, Dan is coming.
Not touching on the art side of things, but in this game, let's say you land on the beach. There's ocean here. We don't want to have it like in other games where you approach the water and there's a wall there. That will not be the case. So you'll be able to go into the water, and we'll have to make systems to support that eventually. We don't have them right now because there's other things that are way higher priority, but eventually I think we will have to go in that direction and do something about it. We'll see how that goes.
Thank you also for this, Dan. So, just a little time check. How much longer do we have?
...15 Minuten haben wir noch.
Alles klar. Dann hatte ich eine Frage hier vorne von dem jungen Herrn. Ich hoffe, der ist noch jung.
Yeah, I got a question for the atmospheric flight model. So, if you stop mid-air on a planet, will it fall or will it stay, or do you change? Do you need to change the flight mode?
So, right now, while this is still being developed, we have. It's still an early. It's a bit early to give you a fixed answer, but right now you're hovering. So think of it as a Harrier plane that can actually either turn its engines to go forward or actually hover. That's how it is right now. So that's probably the way it's gonna go, but we'll see how fun that is. It's all about making stuff fun, and what's fun for you will go into the game eventually. So that's the way we operate.
I know we're running short on time. We need a weapons question. Otherwise, we brought Toby up here for no reason.
Okay.
And he's our lead weapons artist. He's really good.
Frank?
Come on, guys.
Frank, haben wir eine Frage zu Waffen? Ich habe eine neben mir sitzen. Frank? Hallo?
Ja, und zwar wird es ein Medic-System geben, und wie komplex wird es sein?
Das ist aber keine Frage zu Waffen. Ich gebe einfach mal weiter.
When will we see the crossbow from the campaign with Shroud of the Avatar?
I don't know when, but sooner or later we will. It recently came up in a scheduling meeting, so we're looking into getting this done as soon as possible.
Jetzt eine Waffenfrage, Frank? Nein? Okay, ich nehme noch eine aus dem Publikum und dann müssen wir uns auch wieder um die Leute im Livestream kümmern, sonst fühlen die sich auch ein bisschen benachteiligt.
Okay, this is more of an animation question. I don't know if it's appropriate. So, when you're running around, you have free look, you can control your character, and at some point you go to a door or a hatch and you press use, and then an animation is playing. So you leave your free movement and go to a spline or an animation. And between those two parts there is a gap, there is a jagging, you jump to the start of the animation. Are there plans to make this more smooth?
Yeah, absolutely. Usually when we're working with design, we have a tendency to get in rough animations, right? So like the core piece will be done and it looks good, but we haven't gotten to the part where we can start really polishing and making things really smooth, right? So we're definitely aware of all of that, like through all of our animations, going in and out of cinematics, all of that stuff. It's just a matter of we have to get everything working first, and then we can really tighten it up.
Yeah, the blending's going to get a big push, and that's some of actually the global discussions and push that we're doing on right now. There's numerous ways to do it to make it look fluid, right? There's technically numerous approaches for just getting somebody to sit in a chair and stand up that you can take. So as we step through these processes and think of where we want to be in 6 months, where it's going to be in a year, and how many usables and functional items we have, we're coming up with approaches that are going to not only give us the look we need, but then also be able to work with all these various other things, right? A lot of the transitions from one state to the other right now are clunky, and we know that, but it was about getting functionality in there, right? So now we're putting some focus to get those transitions to look nice, but then also to be as efficient as possible. Sometimes it's blending the whole body, sometimes it's just upper body, sometimes it's lower. So we're really digging into that hard right now. Actually, just next week in Frankfurt, we have guys coming from the UK where we're focusing on a portion of that.
Okay. Frank, gib mir eine Frage.
Da wäre immer noch die Frage mit dem Medic-System. Wie komplex wird es sein?
How complex will the medic system be? Dan!
Yes, me again. How complex? It will be as complex as it is fun to play. We don't want to make complexity for the sake of complexity. So we've been experimenting with having different body parts, with having missing limbs and stuff like this. We're having a replacement for limbs, with having localized affliction, as in your bone is broken, so you can't really use your arm, so all your animations will have an additive that don't allow you to use that arm properly. Everything will get slower in shooting and in working everything in the environment, but it all boils down to the fact to testing and seeing what is fun to play, because if we go into super depth and everyone is just hindered, then we'll have to tone it down a bit. So it's a matter of balancing at this point. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Frank. Hallo, Frank, gib mir doch noch eine.
Ja, und zwar können wir den Sandwurm töten, und wenn, wie?
Can we kill the sandworm, and if we can, how?
Everything that's alive can die. I don't want to tell you how to kill it. You guys will have to sort it out yourself.
Of course. I'll take one from around. The choice is not really easy for me. I'm sorry if I skip some people.
I have a question for weapons. My English is not so good. Will there be biological or chemical weapons, or maybe nanotechnology?
I think that's definitely something we're planning to do for the alien races. I don't know exactly which way we're going, but definitely not the standard ballistic type model you would expect to see in the humans. Does that make sense? I don't know for sure yet, but we're going to have some crazy alien tech.
No. Keep up the microphone. I have one more question, maybe just for you.
My question is, will there be kinetic weapons which will be dropped from capital ships onto the surface of a planet? And if so, will there be weapons located on the surface of the planet, which are capable of firing back into the orbit to defend themselves?
So just to clarify, that's not necessarily a weapons as far as Toby and what he does. He makes the weapons look kick-ass, right? He makes beautiful weapons, but as far as the functionality and how one player will be able to attack versus one player to defend, that's then on system design and how that's balanced. So that's why we keep coming back to Dan, just to be clear.
Short answer to this. It is to be determined right now. We just got our planetary tech in, so it's a bit early to. We would love to have this. We would love to have space bombardment and planetary defenses and orbital stations defending you. And we're probably going to head into something similar to that, but it's a bit early to make a call on that.
On stuff like that as well, there's a tremendous amount of thought we have in items like this, right? And we could probably sit here for an hour and talk just about that and the different discussions that we have and, oh, if we tried this approach and this is why we shouldn't do this and so on. So it's not that we don't want to give you insight in the discussions, it's that a proper decision hasn't been made yet and tested all the way through. In most of these things, we based in realism, we based in science, we based in facts. This is a realistic game. Yet at the same time, we also want to tweak it to make it fun, right? And sometimes we need to deviate from that a little bit. So you'll hear a lot of that oh, we're not sure yet. We know how it functions in real life, and we know ideally on paper how we think it should go, but we need to get it in there, we need to play it, and we need to make sure that it's fun, and it has the feedback loops, and it's rewarding to the player.
I think our countdown is ticking.
Yes. Können wir die Distanz für den Quantum Drive einstellen, sodass man eine genau festgelegte Distanz wieder rauskommt?
Can we set the distance for a quantum drive so that after our set distance we are directly coming out there or not?
If I get this straight, you want to be able to set the forward distance, go 100 million miles forward and stop after that.
Or less.
Yes. So right now we didn't put this in, and the quantum drive mechanics will get a bit of a refactor. The distance you travel will mainly be skill-based, so if you're good at quantum traveling, you'll be able to travel faster and more efficient. Obviously less fuel if you know what you're doing, otherwise you'll have to take multiple jumps consecutively until you get to your destination, which a good guy could just get in one jump. But to just answer your question, we didn't put this in where you actually just say, I need this distance, because we didn't find a use for it in the game. Right now you can quantum drive in a direction and stop whenever you want. So that kind of gives us the same functionality. If we find in the game we need to quantum drive 100 million miles and just stop there for whatever reason, we will probably put that in. But so far there has not been a need for that.
Okay, thank you. So, Publikum. Da ist Publikum und da ist Publikum. Der starrt mich so böse an.
Hi. We had the question about the animation when you use like entering a turret or so. Then I got the idea. Then right now the problem is you can access the turret from outside the ship. How hard for the engine is it to check or to implement a check where the player is and when you should be able to use a switch or open a door or something like that? Yeah, to make a position check like this, are you inside and are you allowed to use this or not?
I can try to answer a little bit from a design. So, actually I didn't know that we can use the use prompt from all the sides. So, interesting to know. How should I put it? I think I'm not working with the use system. It's mainly developed in LA, so I can be slightly wrong. Technically, I think it's not too complex. Basically, it's just, since the use problem is just a distance check. You have form point and your distance if you can use it. So basically what you asked for, we need to restrict, and a distance is basically a sphere. So basically you would change the sphere to a cone or anything to restrict the sides from where you can actually use it. It would be at least in theory an approach how I as an engineer would go it. But then I don't really know about the design implications, everything, because just to have such a cone, you need to have markup. So this means each time you have a use problem, somebody has to say you can only use it from this and this side, and then you can make it too small or too large, and that's perhaps can perhaps continue if you want to, but it's the rough technically parts of it.
So this was obviously it's a bug. We never intended that to be, and it was just range based. And now we're getting the tech to basically put a helper in the turret. Let's say on the turret chair where you have and we can say, yeah, this has a radius of this amount, and it has this radius of activation, and you can only do it when you look exactly at it. So you will have to be inside. You won't be able to be outside when this tech is coming in, especially with Item System 2.0. So that will definitely get fixed. We didn't really fix it for the previous item system because we knew this was coming anyway. So it would have been extra wasted work.
Thank you for answering the question. I just hear that our time, or the time that we had to embarrass you, is over now. I like to thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I think I'm just staying here at our MVP.